a history diorama. I had this friend at school that I just love so much. She's so nice and kind and always thinking of other people. And I guess I'm thinking of me because when I'm down at the mouth or feeling the blues, she's always there to say a cheerful word. And I guess I'm just being selfish to be thinking of myself, but I can't help it. It's just the way I am. Anyway, her name is Guadalupe, but we call her Loopy. But she's not Spanish or anything. She's as American as you or me. Though with all the illegal aliens coming into the country these days that you see on TV, I'm not so sure about you, but her people have been in this country for more than 100 years, or more even, maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but however long it's been a long time. So I guess that qualifies for something, doesn't it? Not that it would make any difference if she was Spanish either. I was just saying, because actually, she's more like half Puerto Rican and half black, but 1% American. Anyway, Loopy's a tall girl with big old hips. I guess you'd call her full-figured if you was being nice, and a pink nose like a ski slope, and a bright, cheery face, and big eyes that bulge when she smiles. So she looks a little bit, well, a whole lot if you want to know the truth, like Big Bird, except without the feathers and being yellow and all. Bless her heart, it's bad of me to say that, I know, but it's the god-awful truth. But she is so sweet, with big brown freckles on her cheeks, sprinkled about her nose, like milk chocolate drops on a cake. Anyway, when I got detention, there was Loopy. I sit down next to her. The teacher put on a movie to keep us quiet and educate us all at the same time, too. It was a video of what happened to black people many years ago, how they was brought over here on slave ships and all, and then worked to death in the swamps hereabouts and whipped for not working themselves to death fast enough, and the women raped and the families broke up. So Loopy and me, we had to do a diorama for this project in our history class, which at first I thought would be horrible, having something to do with dead people and all, or people dying, or something like what you see in the movies. But then Loopy explained it to me that it was just a little scene, and we could put in it whatever we wanted about something that happened a long time ago. So I told Loopy maybe we ought to do a diorama about the stuff they was showing in the movie. And that's when Stevie McNabb leaned over and said he'd really like to do a real diorama on all them N-words. I can't bring myself to say it because it's just too mean and low down. And I'm growing redder and redder like one of them cartoon characters almost fit to burst, and I told him he'd better shut his trap or I was going to do a diorama on his face. And I must have been shouting pretty loud because that's when Mr. Larson came over and real soft-like tells us to go back to our seats and sit down. He turned on the lights and he started talking about how this wasn't a movie just about African people, but the same story could be told all over the world time and time again. He asked Stevie McNabb, "McNabb, that's a Scottish name, isn't it?" "I don't know, I guess so." "Well, do you know how your folks came here?" "Yeah," he said with a big grin. "They moved down from Spartanburg so my daddy could work in the mill." "No, I mean your first folks, the ones that came from Scotland." Stevie didn't do nothing but shrug and made that sound that people make when they say, "I don't know." But it don't come out like words or something. It's just a sound that goes up and down. "I don't know." "Well, Stephen, it's something like this. Up in the Highlands of Scotland, where I would presume your people came from originally, your ancestors were cleared off their farms where they lived for close to 1,000 years. Sometimes the little houses they had were burned over their heads. Just imagine that, the women and children crying and the men not able to do anything because the government had already taken all their guns away from them." After that, Stevie didn't say nothing, so Mr. Larson turned the movie back on, and I whispered fierce to Loopy, "I'm so sorry, so awful, awful sorry you had to hear that ignorant fool talking like that and see me acting so crazy-like. But Loopy, she's such a wonderful person, always looking on the good side of things, unlike myself, who is just bad to the core, and you'll come to find out. She says with a smile like an angel, she just says, 'He can't help it, that's the way he was raised up. You have to take that into account. I know it doesn't have anything to do with you.' I swear she is a pure angel. And so I sat there in the study hall watching the movie and gripping Loopy's hand till my nails dug into her palm, tears wanting to come to my eyes because it was my people just like Stevie's, scarce a couple years out of having them terrible things done to us. But that we turn around and do the same thing to Loopy's people. Like we didn't learn nothing from our trials and tribulations except to do it to somebody else quick before they get a chance to do it to us. Well, we're all God's children, they say. But you know what happens to a child that gets whooped? More'n likely he turns around and whoops some other child. But it made my heart cry nevertheless.